game sucks so much. I gotta play Marvel Rivals because I couldn't get my fucking gun killed like that.
No, fuck.
I couldn't knock people off the cliff with Torvald. Yeah, that turtle ass though. That turtle upskirt.
Yeah, I'd rather play Jeff the Shark and just make a big death circle that I have to jump
Dude,
into a
Jeff
pit
the
to
Shark's
actually get killed.
ult is like not that bad. I'm gonna be honest. People are blowing it out of proportion. This is, I mean,
No, I'm just saying it's boring. It's just such boring, lazy design.
you're using your stupid voice. Are you being real or not?
Yeah, I am being
Yeah.
real. That's not my stupid voice. It's just legit boring. It's
You're like, yo, it's such boring. It's such boring design. That's how you said it. So you.
okay. Whatever.
I
Whatever.
was
My bad.
confused because you
That's
made
what
your
I said.
stupid voice. You didn't toggle it off.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. No, but I don't know. I like just in general. Like I said, I just
Stayed in the
think
stands.
there are plenty of good.
I was like, wait.
But yeah, I think it's just like I don't know. There's a lot of things that Marvel Rivals does as well. Obviously, the presentation is the
Yes,
best aspect
it
of it.
looks nice.
It looks really good. I
Probably
don't
one of
think
the
anybody
best
can
looking
argue against
games
that.
that's been out.
Yeah,
in
and
a
I think their roster from just like the picks point of view is fantastic. They didn't just stick to like MCU characters.
Yeah, that's true.
But they had a good mix of recognizable characters and then like, oh, this character would work really well in the game. Like I said, and I don't think like I think the maps were fine. And if anything, I think they were good. Maybe a little bit generic, but they were still like, none of them were egregiously bad. And then it really was just that the designs of the characters from a gameplay standpoint were just so fucking like dull. Like they're not wrong or anything. It's not like they didn't work. It was just so bare bones. Like they didn't have any creativity of themselves to offer. They just wanted to grab things from Overwatch.
Oh, that's certainly true. But I think, on some perspective, I think you didn't even give it a fair shake enough.
Yeah, no, there are characters I didn't try, but I tried like 10 different characters. At what point is it? The only one that I felt like was truly like, wow, this is a unique character that clearly had a lot of, or like, I could see things with was Penny Parker. Out of all the characters I tried, everybody else is just like, this is a boring copy of this character that like doesn't function for XYZ
Loki's
reason.
a better copy of Yang, though. I'll give it that.
I think Ying is actually more interesting than Loki.
Fuck
but
you. You're such a little bitch, dude. It's just, that's not true. Those clones aren't even clones. They're just like fucking totems, man. You just throw them around. They pass.
Okay, that's true. Well, and that could be interesting if they rework it.
I think Loki is much better. And the thing is because it's like, oh, he's kind of like Baptiste where he's got the immortality field and stuff like that. But it's like he also has to use the clones for that. And then it's like,
yeah, no, and I think that's interesting, but I mean, they kind of do different things then, because also I think Ying's thing with one that she can teleport two clones and then teleport back makes an interesting choice of like, okay, I can play aggressive here for free if I set my clones in the right place, but if I set them in too obvious a place, they're just gonna get broken instantly. Yeah. And then plus also then it makes you harder to chase down. You can do shenanigans with like, somebody's chasing you to teleport to the clone, they face away from the clone and then you teleport back, blah blah. Yeah. But then also on top of that, I think the whole like game of like when do I explode or set the clones to detonate is really interesting because it's like you want to keep them around as long as possible for healing, but as soon as they're not relevant for healing anymore or they're gonna get destroyed anyway, you should set them to detonate. And if you do it too early, you don't do enough healing, and if you do it too late, you're not getting the possible value that you could get from detonating them. Yeah, which Loki doesn't really have that, but not to say that's horrible because, like I said, Loki kind of does different things. But yeah, I don't know. I would say they're both pretty interesting, but still, like Loki was like the exception. Like I said, Penny Parker was also interesting, but I would say like Storm is just like, what if Lucio was DPS? It's just like, okay, dude, and then. I think the flying is like an interesting concept, but I don't know like how good it actually works.
A lot of the kits I felt like were like very incohesive. Like something like Iron Fist, it's like something like the meditation ability. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever, but it's like it's not honestly like you could just have a passive field to do basically the same thing. Yeah. It's not honestly that like. Most of the time, 90% of the time, it's just wasting an ability on your moveless. You know what I mean?
Oh my, everybody's
really only got the fucking deflecting to the punchies and the kick. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, and also, like I said, so yeah, Storm was just one of the more interesting characters, and she was literally just like, what if Lucio is DPS, which is like, they just copied the kid. And then, And then the other character that I thought even had any sort of interestingness, or like, I played Iron Fist and the woman as well, Magic, and they were literally just like carbon copies of that kind of character from every other game they've ever like had. Like they had no new ideas to bring to that, and also they were much more simplistic. I think they it's like they took the base idea of the characters, but they got rid of all the actual interesting decision making that comes along with playing a complex character like that, where you have different combos. Because it just seemed to me when I was playing them like there is just one combo you do over and over again. There's no reason to do any other combo, and there isn't really even any other combo. Like they didn't actually understand what makes those characters have any depth. They just the character has one big combo rather than actually having a bunch of different combos you can do. Anyway, yeah, and that was like both Iron Fist and Magic. Like I said, Penny had interesting stuff going on. Don't know how cohesive it could actually be, like what the actual skill ceiling is, or if it's just nonsense. But at least it was new. I like the idea of like the web trap. And I
liked for like tank. I like Thor, but the thing is like Thor's like a cool character and stuff. But the thing is they. Like, for whatever reason, they wanted to limit him as a pool character, and you can't just use all your abilities immediately, and you have a 1 second cooldown between all of them.
Yeah, which is like, doesn't that ruin the point of the design
fundamentally? Yeah. And it's like, it's so hard to even, because I think they don't want the character to, like, gatekeep in a way, and they don't want stupid people to just throw out all their abilities and then run out of abilities, because that's what you do with Koga. Right? Stupid Kogas are just going to throw away all their abilities, and you got to manage the pool, and that's the point of that. And they don't want that to happen, but it's so hard to fucking actually run out of all of your, like, Thor Force shit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, anyway, yeah, with the Marvel Rivals thing, though, yeah, it's just like, I don't know, like I said, Penny was the only one where it seemed like they had a unique idea that hadn't been done before, but still, I don't even know how cohesive it was, or if it was just a bunch of random abilities we're going to throw together. Although I even giving them the benefit of the doubt that it does work and there was a vision for like what a really good play looks like. The other characters, I tried like 10 characters, and that's like, it was like six boring ass, like completely unoriginal, uninspired characters that just have no depth whatsoever, and then like 2 characters that are just copies of characters that already exist. So like even though they have depth, it like hardly counts. And then 2 characters that may have a vision for something unique. And it's like, I don't know, that's just not enough. That's especially for a game with as much budget as it did. They couldn't hire one competent designer who had some ideas.
No, it's not incompetent, because I think they do it on purpose. I think they purposely don't want the characters to be too complicated or to like stress people out too much. Because this game's clearly geared towards a casual lane.
But I don't buy that. A good designer can make a character that, in the eyes of a new player, is functionally as simplistic as you want them to be, but then has depth on top of that for a...
I don't think they're necessarily good designers. But I think purposely they think
and that's what I'm saying.
Just like Guilty Gear Strive, they think it's a good direction to make the game as simple as possible, just so they don't scare people off.
But that's
the game clearly is
like I said, whatever. I mean, from a design philosophy perspective, I just completely disagree, because, like I said, I'm of the camp that the skill floor is completely unrelated to the skill ceiling. I'm getting gunned down. I just got gunned down by their omen, bro. I'm like, I have no DPS. My DPS is giga gapped. Can't win. GG.
Dude, I can't win because I have no healing. And I'm
you protect me from getting back shots.
I'm better by meditation because of you.
I can't heal you if I'm fucking dead from Omen giving me back shots every 2 seconds.
Ben, please.
Where are you, bitch? I'm gonna fucking die. Like, what are you bending for? I'm alone. I'm fighting 2v1. Azan and me are just sitting there.
I couldn't help you fight because I got 300
except with 2 people.
I couldn't help you fight.
I've got 3 pedophiles just sitting there with their barely legal porn on their monitor, just jerking it. And not playing the fucking game at all.
I was behind cover.
Dude.
I was at 200 HP. I couldn't help you fight, and then Androxus started putting his fist up my butthole.
I don't care.
Well, then that's why you don't have anybody helping you out, because you're a fucking
dude. My Azan is the only human. It's over. FF, please now.
Dude, you're not cute. Like, look at this fucking Drogos who's like literally living off like tap water. No, but like I don't know. The biggest thing with Thor like kind of pissed me off because it's like there's so much to this character, but he's like neutered intentionally for no reason. Just because I think they don't want people to fucking go play as on and like or not as on fucking Thor, use all of his abilities and then go, oh, I don't have any fucking abilities because it's so hard to even run out of Thor force. Like even if you're trying to.
No, but yeah, that's my thing is okay. So like one, I have two central philosophies like from a design perspective with the like whole easy characters and easy game thing and being approachable. Is that one is that I think that obviously the skill floor and the skill ceiling very often are completely divorced from each other. Like you don't have to have a low skill ceiling to have a low skill floor. Although to some extent, I don't think that you should be ruled by these characters need a low skill floor. Like you can have characters with a high skill floor, it's fine. But also, a good designer knows how a new player would like to play and knows how an experienced player would like to play and can simultaneously serve both of them with the design. It's not that hard to predict what a new player is going to play like. Yeah, a good design. And that's what I said. It's just, it baffles me that they couldn't get a single person who truly had any ideas or inspiration for a new character.
Like the team up mechanics and all this stuff. Clearly, they don't want it for experienced players or competitive player, whatever.
They can serve both, but that's what I'm saying. They can serve both. There's no excuses.
They could. Yes, they could.
They just don't care. They're either too lazy or they explicitly don't care. Regardless, I just have no interest in playing a game like that.
Yeah.
But either way, fuck, what was I gonna say? But yeah, and then the other thing that, and this is my true belief, but I just think you're like, this is too red pill to take, so you're not allowed to have it, is that people think that like new players are like idiots or something. Like they all just like don't understand the game. They just want to like click and stuff. And while there sure maybe is people that are that dense, I think the majority of people that
there's people that dense in fucking like Diamond, Grandmaster, top 500. I mean, Exodus is proof of that.
Well, is that I think people or humans, the average player, can appreciate good design subconsciously. They don't even understand what they're enjoying, but they enjoy it. Yeah, I know we should probably pay attention to it. But also like, it's just like, I think if you make a character with a high skill ceiling, even if they have a high skill floor to match it, the new players don't care. They will just appreciate the like. The character has a high skill ceiling and will still try to play the game. Like, I don't think the skill floor actually matters. Like, the skill floor is just a fake concept. People will learn a character if they see a vision. They have to see the vision though, and that's what you really have to.
How easy the character is to pick up and play. And
I'm just saying I don't think people care. I just genuinely don't think people care at all. They want to see a vision, and once they see the vision, they are dedicated. They will figure it out.
No, that's true to some extent, but I think people don't. It's not that people don't like the character or whatever, it's people don't like losing, and when a character is difficult, then they're going to lose a lot when they first start playing them.
But that's not true. If every character is difficult, then they're going to lose as much as the opponent's losing. Like people might think that, oh, this easy character is broken. Well, my solution also is just, I don't think there should be easy and hard characters. I think every character should try to be just as difficult as each other.
Help me, I'm standing in front of you.
Ooh, where are you?
I was standing in front of you.
But yeah, I don't think there should be easy and hard characters. That concept is just idiotic, and it's an impossible problem to solve whenever you introduce that. Because now, like I said, if you have an easy character, okay, should the easy character have the same skill ceiling as the hard character, or a lower skill ceiling because the person put in the work with the hard character? Yeah, and it's like there's no right answer. If you have the even skill ceiling, people play the hard character. Go, why would I play the hard character? I could just play the easy character and get the same reward out of it. And then if you have a lower skill ceiling, then people who just like the character for their design feel disenfranchised because, oh, I'm getting punished for happening to like this character design because they happen to be an easy character, which doesn't feel good for anybody. So the solution to that is just make everybody's skill ceiling the fucking same and their skill for the fucking same. But like I said, games don't understand this concept. What?
No, but no game just works that way because you basically just that's like making every single character easy. I mean, no game works.
Or making every single character hard, and yes, you can do that. You absolutely can do that.
Because there certainly are going to be characters that are inherently harder than the others.
No, I just don't buy that. I said,
I'm at 104 health. You fucking.
I think any character with a quote unquote high skill floor is just poorly designed. I truly believe that it just means because all high skill floor means is that the
So like someone like
complexity of your
Zato,
character.
no. Someone like Zato is poorly designed. Then is
Yes.
what you're saying.
No, and also, well, I don't think I don't even think Zato has that high a skill floor. One, yeah,
You have to
and
know, no, but like no one can just pick up and play Zato and fucking like if you can't like don't have fingers and just mash and stuff. Like you don't realize how fucking like how people are when they first play because they don't even know what they're doing. They're just gonna oftentimes just be clicking random abilities and random buttons when they first start.
yeah,
Right?
no, and like I
You
said,
can't do
I
that
don't
with
think
Zato.
Zato.
There's no way to do that with Zato. You have to negative edge or you don't have special abilities. It's that simple.
Well, like I said,
You
you
gotta
don't
do
really.
that.
You can. So
And the
most
character
games that
doesn't
have
even
negative
function
edging.
at a decent level without setups and shit like that. The character doesn't do fucking jack shit if you don't already have a decent amount of knowledge of frame data and all this other stuff. And like,
Well, like I said, one,
frame
I don't even think Zato has a particularly quote unquote high skill floor. Like it depends what you're calling skill floor, because also it's such a nebulous term. Like that's like, oh, Zato doesn't work if you haven't put in this amount of, like, obviously it works. You can press buttons at any stage and it's just, yeah, will you see results like output wise at the same,
But
like
that's
there's
the
a
thing,
curve obviously.
No, but that's gonna be okay. The guy who picks up Soul Bad Guy is gonna see a lot better results than the guy who picks up Zato immediately, right?
But
that's
then, like
the
I said,
fucking skill.
so then the problem is not that Zato's skill floor is too high. It's that Soul Bad Guy's skill floor is too low. You're getting output from things that you shouldn't even be seeing output from.
The thing is you're just gonna fucking but like okay, here's the problem with fighting games is the game, unlike shooters, right? Because you can be ass at shooters and ass at fighting games, right? But unlike shooters when you're ass at them, the game still feels like a shooter. I can still run around and hold left click. You know what I mean? But the game doesn't feel right with fighting games until you're already at a decent level and you can do combos and whatnot. And when the game doesn't feel right because it's too difficult to do for the average person, then guess what happens? People get fucking, people don't like it and they get, they lose motivation.
They get bored or whatever. Yeah.
Because they just keep, the whole thing feels clunky and uncomfortable just because they don't know how they're supposed to be doing things.
Well, okay. I mean, that's a whole different issue because this isn't getting into system mechanics and not characters. But I think, okay, so just to keep it to the character argument, because you were talking about fucking like Zato and stuff. Like I said, I think that the problem is
saying,
not
like,
that.
Okay, if Zato, right? It's like, oh, he's so cool and awesome and whatnot, but the character doesn't even function without already having a little bit of knowledge about both fighting games and the character itself. Trying to do that and trying to
true. I can agree with you on that.
Or make
yeah.
characters unnecessarily harder. That's what I'm trying to say. And just make cool characters that's like, okay, this character's cool and people are going to want to play this character. Right? Like,
well,
Zato,
like I said,
there's no thought in the development of Zato to make the character penis fart peeing with a boner hard.
Yeah.
Right? It was just, let's make a character that's basically you have two characters on screen at once.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Well, that's true. And
that's how the best designed characters are, because like someone like Spider-Man in this game is super complex and super difficult, and they weren't thinking of making such a intricate, complex character with Spider-Man. They're like, no, we want to make a character where it feels like you're playing like Spider-Man. So we want you to web around, we want you to stick to the floor and stuff like that, and run around and all that shit. So they had to put all these physics and all this stuff, and it turned out, well, the character was just difficult. But a lot of people still play Spider-Man because he's cool, because the character's fun, because he's well designed, because he has all this cool shit, and people like Spider-Man as well as the character at the end of the day. But someone like Thor, on the other hand, he has a pool, he's a pool character similar to Koga, but instead they just cut off his balls and neuter him because they clearly think that people are too incompetent and too stupid and think you're just going to mash all your fucking abilities immediately, run out of them, and then cry that Thor is weak and Thor sucks, blah, 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 because you can't manage your resources properly. So they purposely bar you from doing that and bar you from using all of your abilities. So then the character just feels very boring and whatnot because you're limited arbitrarily when you shouldn't be with someone like Thor, because they purposely don't want the character to be too difficult.
Yeah, I agree with all that. No, like I said, your central point makes sense.
The whole point of the Thor Force is irrelevant because you get it so fast and you're prevented from just mashing all of it away.
Okay, yeah, well, like I said, I think you would agree with me on my only point is just I don't think Thor should be arbitrarily limited, which I think you agree with that. And is that and also that casuals would prefer Thor to not be arbitrarily limited to. And that's the biggest myth, is they think that new players would get upset if they were
no. But I think to some people, of course, wouldn't. Some people, of course, wouldn't. But people who don't like dying, people who don't like losing, people who are crybaby little bitches who just want to fucking get wins and results and think they're the coolest guy ever and don't like any kind of discomfort, people who complain about fucking CC and area denial and all of those things.
Those people weren't going to play the game anyway.
Yes, they fucking will, because you want to know who is playing Marvel Rivals right now? Guess who? It's those fucking people. Those people who like to bitch and complain about every little fucking thing. So then these people, if they go in and play Thor and they run out of their resources and they have nothing to work with here, then they fucking cry that, oh, it's like, I just can't do all this shit because I fucking can't manage my resources properly. That's what happens.
If Thor is so cool, okay, how popular is Thor of a character?
Fucking not. Because
and I wonder why.
Actually, he's fairly, I mean, for tank, he's fairly popular. I'd say he's probably top 3 or 4. But I mean, he's not. He could be more popular if they didn't limit him. But they don't want to, because it will detract people from the game.
I don't know. I think you have the pretty doomer opinion. At least, I don't know. I think
you haven't seen these fucking degenerate human beings. Like I said, there are definitely people who'll be like, oh, I just act like a fucking normal human being, and I don't use all my resources like an idiot, and I manage them properly, and this will work. Even beginner players. There are people who are beginners that's smart enough to do that. But there are also people on the other side of the spectrum who are on the spectrum and are fucking stupid, and are just going to waste all their shit and then cry about it. And then not play Thor, or just even worse for the game developers,
but then
not play the whole game. And if every character is like that, like Thor, where they have these shit that can cause discomfort for the player, then people are going to get pissed off and not like it. And this is why fighting games oftentimes don't get as much attention as other shit like Tekken and whatnot, because people say, oh, they're hard and blah, 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 blah. But they're not hard because you're playing at the same difficulty everybody else is. It's just they're not comfortable because you're aware that you're not playing the game right, and shit just feels off the whole time. Until you can get to a decent level and you can do combos and you can understand frame data.
Well, I think, like I said, this is a whole different issue, because also I just think fighting games have a lot of unnecessary bullshit that you have to know or do in order to play the real game that could just be literally, I mean, like frame data, you just mentioned it. How do I know if it moves plus or minus? Well, experienced players know 2 ways. 1, memorize, and 2, mash your lightest button and see if you get exploded or not. Yeah. But a new player doesn't know either of these rules, and it might even take them months to figure this out. And something like literally just physically showing the color on block of if something is plus or minus is such an easy thing to do. No game has ever done this. Ever. Just displayed if it's plus or minus on block. Like right there. You could, and then it would be this easy. The first time a new player, and like I said, even in my head, I would think subconsciously people would understand, oh, when my guard flashes orange, I shouldn't mash. When it flashes blue, I can mash. They would understand that even just subconsciously. But even if they didn't, the first time they ask, when do I know if I should mash or not? Somebody says, oh, don't mash when it's orange, mash when it's blue. That's simple. And then from then on, they will know. Like literally that simple. And it's just surprising that no game has ever done this. And I mean, there are a million other examples. I mean, like the biggest one in my opinion. That's what I'm talking about, because these games have the same thing. When do I know when to push in? When do I know when not to? You don't know. And low-level players will never know. They'll just throw themselves at the fucking enemies because they're stupid. Right? It's the same kind of thing. You want to look for it before you can push in. You want to look for some kind of advantage. It's just like frame data. You want to look for some kind of opening. You want to look for some kind of advantage. You have to play neutral. You need to get a pick or bait certain abilities and use your abilities to counter their abilities. And it's exactly the same as fighting games. Newer players don't understand that. But the thing is, what they do understand is running around and shooting people. Right? And that feels good, and that makes sense, and it's easy to do. So it doesn't even matter that they don't actually understand the game, because they think they understand the game. And they think all there is to the game is Call of Duty. And they think all there is to game is running around and killing people. And that's what they do. Yeah. Okay.
And it works.
Yeah.
And even at a high level, people have this fucking mindset where all they do is they're execution monkeys with just fundamental skills and know nothing about the game entirely. And they still get good results and they still get to a high rank just because they're executionally good with good aim. Example, Wizmeister.
Okay. No, but also, okay, what you're saying, like I said, I admit this is a problem, but the reality is people want the game to be balanced at their level of skill, regardless of their level of skill. That's the real problem. And what makes people quit is when they feel the game is unbalanced,
Mm.
regardless of whether it is or not at a top level, with their level of skill, is it balanced? Or
Yeah.
unbalanced, and a good designer can make the game feel balanced
That's
enough at each level of
I
skill.
feel like that's an impossible task. No.
It's not an impossible
What
task
game
because
has
some
done it?
games have done it. Well, I
What
mean, like
games?
there are games that are pretty balanced, like League of Legends and stuff. People would argue that it's not, but I would say that's
Look,
pretty balanced.
I have not enough experience in League of Legends to argue on how stupid you are, but I know you're stupid, so I'm just gonna skip
Okay.
past that.
But
Give me a
also,
go ahead.
yeah, maybe it's an impossible task to
Oh
make it
yeah,
perfectly balanced, but clearly
Karth is perfectly balanced.
no, but okay. My point is more that like you can attempt it, and clearly, if every game was so like they just had some elo that the game was so unbalanced that people would just instantly quit the moment that they got to that skill level, then they would have no player base. And clearly, plenty of these games have enough of a player base that it's not an issue. Yeah, basically, just look at any game that currently has a reasonable amount of players. It's probably pretty balanced no matter what skill level you're at. That's all I'm
Yeah,
gonna say.
but
Yeah, and what?
that's the thing is just like God, what was I gonna say? It's it's just it's such an impossible task because it's like, I mean, something like Jeff. I don't know. I don't know. It's just like I
Yeah,
feel
it's
like
a hard task. It's a hard task, and
no,
obviously,
it's impossible.
if it was easy, well, yeah, if it was easy, like if it was easy to get it perfect, then there would be just a perfect game that everybody would love because it literally is just so good that nobody could ever
I
not
don't
want to
think
play
it's
it.
about the
But
balancing as
but
much. Like I
well,
don't think the
but
balancing honestly matters at the end of the day, as long as it's not like fucking Third Strike and you have Sean that's literally unplayable. You know what
that's
I
true.
mean?
Okay, well,
Like
here's
at
what
the
I'll
end of
say
the
to
day,
that.
because
No,
it's
and I
like
think you have a
every
point.
modern
Okay,
game
hold
is
on.
fairly balanced. Like even the worst characters are not too far off from the best characters,
Oh,
right?
no,
But
no,
like
no, but
older games are not like
I
that.
got no, but okay, let me explain this. Yes, I agree with you. No, and this is if I were to make a game, yeah, first and foremost, like you said, I think make every character interesting. I don't think there should be a character that's the quote unquote simple or boring character. No,
Mm.
even if you want to make a character, like you said, for dummies or whatever, oh, I just want to hit big buttons. There are ways to work around this. Maybe the skill ceiling that you add doesn't have to be necessarily complexity, like memorizing a bunch of stuff. Maybe it's an execution barrier. You want to just give them something that they can practice over
Did
and
you
over
see
again
what I mean?
because
That's
they're
the
a
same
dummy or
thing with
whatever.
Thor, but in reverse. You are forcing the character to be unnecessarily difficult when there's no reason to. Do you see what I mean?
Not necessarily. No, there is a reason to. Because the moment that people feel like they've
I want
perfected
to
the
play the
character,
Gordayuki and I want to press slash.
yeah. No,
That's what I
but
want to
the
do.
moment that people feel like they've perfected a character, they will get bored. The
Mm.
point is just to make the skill ceiling high enough that nobody ever gets bored,
Yeah.
regardless of the character
But
that
you
they
can do
pick.
that within the fundamental aspects of the game too. And it needs a
I
combination
just
of
don't
both.
think that's true.
You
I don't think
need
that's true.
you are such a little bitch. It's cause you don't play fucking any fundamentals in any game you play, motherfucker. Sombra,
Okay.
Evelyn, Laura. I don't want to hear you with
Yeah.
your fucking Latina fetish and them just appearing on you and instantly killing you. You've never played fundamentals in any game in your
No, but
life.
okay, but regardless of my preferences, I know what people who quote unquote want the fundamentals want, and it's because they like perfecting the fundamentals. They want a high, but they still want a high skill ceiling, and that's what I'm saying is nobody wants a low skill ceiling. Nobody goes, damn, I wish I could just like have nothing left to get better at with this character. I wish I could just be the best
Yeah,
already. Like,
no. Because people, they weren't thinking like that, but people who play characters that have a low skill ceiling and are very easy to pick up and play, it's because they want comfort, and they also they play the game in a fundamental at a fundamental base, right? That's their basis
yeah,
of the game.
but you can
They
but you
play the
can
game in
make
fundamentals.
then you can make those fundamentals harder to master than on other characters. Like you still give them enough to chew on, like as much to
This
chew on as other characters. Just limit the scope, limit the complexity, limit the amount of things they have to master, but then make those things that they have to master very important or have a really high skill ceiling. Like you said, like with aiming, if you have a character who's all just like, like a soldier 76, like they're really easy, then just make it so that the high skill ceiling is just in their aim, in their positioning, etc. Yeah, and
yeah
you can make ways that to express that high skill ceiling that like
yeah
add increase the skill ceiling of the character without increasing their complexity.
That's a good thing about hero shooters is because, like, a character that's just based around aiming, the difficulty of the character is aiming, but it's a lot harder because you're fighting a bunch of characters that can move around that aren't based around aiming, that move at the speed of light and shit, right? And have all these movement abilities and shit and are, like, zigzagging and teleporting and whatnot. And that's kind of the skill of the character because the other characters in the game make that character's job harder to do. You see what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, but that's with every character. Every character is going to have to shoot at other characters who are moving around at the speed of light. Like,
fuck no. Really? Every character has to do that in Marvel Rivals?
Well, I guess not. Yeah, like some characters, or like auto aim, or if you're a healer, you just heal your other teammates, whatever.
No. I'm saying like these melee characters and whatnot, like Spider-Man. Really
melee characters, yeah, etc. Okay, whatever. I mean, yeah, I guess you have a point there, but regardless, I mean, that still serves my point though, which is that the skill of the character is focused into the few aspects that they do have, but actually focused, not like, oh, it's more of a focus just because I don't have other things to focus on. It's actually a focus, like mastering, like this character doesn't have to worry about X, Y, and Z, but they do have to worry about like A, B, and C, and A, B, and C are harder to master on this character than with other characters. Mm-hmm. Like if it's the same difficulty to master A, B, and C on this character than other characters, and they also don't have to worry about X, Y, and Z, that's when it's a problem. And that's when other people start going, that's unfair because they don't even have to worry about like X, Y, and Z, and then they still are just as good as me at A, B, and C. Like they feel disenfranchised.
Yeah.
But whatever.
But
anyway,
at the Y picks in all these games, especially when you put too many characters on the roster. There's going to be Y picks. But I mean,
there shouldn't be in a well-designed game, but yeah, they're.
But I mean, when you make characters too similar, or like characters that are similar but just have like minor variations, it's gonna fucking happen.
And that's why I said, like you said, at the end of the day, I agree with you. I think the best philosophy is make every character cool and unique in a vacuum. Ignore all the other characters. Just worry about making a really cool character that people who want to play this character will love to play. Yeah. Like if you're making a tank, make a tank that people love to tank with. Like whatever, lean into them being the guy that shields people or whatever.
And the big thing is don't purposely try to artificially make them harder or easier than they need to be.
Like I said, I think
you are such a little bitch. It's just like, oh, just fucking make them harder unnecessarily. Yeah, fucking Nagoriyuki you have to fucking mash twice.
Well, like I said, I don't like the concept of a harder and easier. Characters aren't a harder character and easy character. They have a certain skill ceiling and a certain skill floor. And realistically, I mean, they have certain outputs at certain skill levels.
What I mean more by harder is like how high is the skill floor? Because that's usually what we're going to talk about. Is how high is it till you can actually start feeling.
And like I said, I don't think the skill floor is real. I think there's just different outputs of different skills, and characters that people say have a quote-unquote high skill floor, it means they have low output at low skill, which is might be true, but as long as the output isn't so low that you feel like you can't win, then I think it's fine.
This goes back to what I was saying about Zato, where it's like, and like even fighting games in general, where it's like, when the game doesn't feel right, when what you're doing isn't right, and you can feel that, even if you don't know exactly what you're doing, and it feels clunky, it feels awful, it feels bad, and you don't want to be playing that. You know what I mean? When you don't have any of your abilities, when none of your shit is working properly, when everything is
but you can buff things for low skill that won't affect high skill. You can do that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. A good designer can.
A good designer can.
Yes.
No, but it's like, okay, so Zato, right? It's like I got the little fucking shit, and at a low level, it's like it's hard to use the clone and stuff. People can't fucking negative edge ride, do any of the setups or anything. But at a high level, he's very good because he gets fucking unblockable, and he does all the setups, and he does all this bullshit, and he's super strong, right? If that's the case. But then it's like, oh, we should try to. This is the same kind of ideology that someone like Blizzard and whatnot has that killed the game in the first place. Is they're like, oh, well, we can try to balance it for low and high level play. Guess who said that? Ubisoft, the R6 team said they could do that. Blizzard said they could do that. The games that often do the worst and have the worst fucking balancing say, yeah, let's try and do that. Let's try and balance the game for low and high skill, and it just doesn't work. Because someone like Zato, what are you gonna do? You're gonna make his normals better? well, if his normals are so fucking good, why even use the fucking clone at some point? And he'd just be better than all the other characters because he'd have good normals like all the other characters, and then the clone on top of that.
I just think you're just upset because these designers are shit and they don't understand what they're doing. Because also, I agree with you. I don't think you can get design everything perfectly so that there's this perfectly even curve. And I personally think you should always prioritize the highest level of play because it's better to know that eventually you can balance the game out with enough skill rather than know that once you get to a certain skill point, this character is irrelevant.
This is what I'm saying. Prioritize the highest level of play.
And the problem...
No. What you just said before was that they should try to balance the game for low-level play.
No, I didn't. I said they should try to... I said they can try to make changes that will help low-level play without affecting high-level play. But like I said, the priority should always... Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You just don't understand.
Give me an example.
I can give you examples. For example, Nogoriyuki's far// combo, right? Nobody would ever use that in a high level of play. You can, after far// you can special cancel into something that will give you back more blood in the long run in your combo, or just straight up break the wall or kill them. Yeah, but the reason that they made that change was because in a low level of play, lower level players were filling their blood meter too fast and had no reasonable way to get it back because they didn't do full combos. So they buffed far// in a way that it literally has no effect on high-level play because, like I said, no high-level player would ever use that combo. It is never optimal to use that combo, but at the same time, for a low-level player, it would be optimal to use that combo, assuming that they're not doing full combos anyway, to get blood meter back. It's a buff to low-level Nogoriyuki that literally has no effect on high-level Nogoriyuki because you would never use it. And that's an example of smart design decisions that only change low-level play. They're balancing...
Yes, this is actually... This is good. Sure. Okay. So basically what you're saying is have moves that nobody would use at a high level that are
usable at a low level. Exactly.
That makes sense. Yeah. I can agree with that. Here's the problem. It puts people in fucking traps. You know what Main Man always says about Snake Edge?
I know, because they always use the noob moves.
Yeah. They use the fucking moves that get them first results, and they build bad habits, and it feel
like to some extent that's up to the players to get rid of the bad habits, but also to your point, because your point was all complaining about, these players just want to win. Okay, then just let them win. Who's to say? There are plenty of Brian mains who have been stuck in fucking red ranks their entire life because all they want to do is fucking Snake Edge and Orbital, and they never want to learn, and that's fine. Those people should be
red ranks. That's insane, dude. That's some mad rank.
Okay, in green ranks. But fine. If they just want to do that, though, they should be allowed to. I don't think that's a crime to be quote unquote stuck in traps.
Actually, fuck this guy. God damn it. So where I was trying to gear this is a post note. I was trying to gear the conversation because I was saying people get stuck in traps, right? People get stuck in traps, and then people get pissed off when the traps stop working. You know what I mean? And this is a big thing, like the Main Man when he talks about Snake Edge. It's for scrubs. So Snake Edge, this move that Brian has, and a couple other characters have the same thing. It's a launcher, which is very good, meaning you get a full combo, but it's super slow. It's reactable. It's like 30 frames, and if you block it, he just fucking explodes. He gets he gets basically stunned, and then you can get a full combo and launch him and all that stuff. So at any point where people can just react to about 30 frames, they'll just die anytime they fucking use this, right? So at about like red ranks or so, this move just stops fucking working, and you really don't see it anymore, right? Because it's dog shit. It's not good, and it puts people in traps because it's an easy way to get results when people aren't fucking reacting to anything and people aren't dealing with this move properly. And it's the same kind of thing. And basically what he's trying to say here, right, my brother, is you can try to make it basically the game completely different at a low level versus a high level by basically having like target combos and stuff like that, or like something like Luke, right? Luke has target combos. You just press 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, or medium punch, and it'll do a combo automatically. So you don't even have to learn a combo, right? And a lot of games have tried to gear the characters to that. But the problem is, and this is the way that Tekken characters are designed inherently, is Tekken characters have so many fucking moves, just like the previously mentioned Snake Edge. They have so many moves, but half of them are fucking worthless. But because of this, it creates traps, and it makes the game seem more complicated than it actually is. You don't need that many moves to actually be able to play Tekken. But people look at the Tekken roster and often get very intimidated and see, 100 plus moves, but 50% of that shit, hell, maybe even 70% of that shit is fucking worthless, right? It's fucking useless. You're never going to use this, nobody's going to use this, and it overcomplicates things. One, this is more work on the developer's part, which you don't want the developers to be making unnecessarily complicated characters and making unnecessary shit with their characters, right? Because that's taking away from resources that they could be using to make more characters and make more content for the game. So that's just bad in general, right? Because if I spend, making 50 moves on a character and half of them are worthless, I could have just spent that time making 20 moves on a character and 20 moves on another character and then get 1-2 really good characters at the same time. So you're taking away resources that you've spent right there, right? You know what I mean? And on top of that, when people run into these traps, they get frustrated and they quit the game, right? Tekken also has these 10-hit combos. You know what I mean? And these are supposed to be basically the combos for scrubs. These are supposed to be basically the combos, because how you're normally going to do a combo in Tekken is you're going to launch somebody, you're going to go punch them, beat them up and whatnot, and then you're going to bound. But then but then for low level players, they have 10-hit combos, which honestly I think the 10 hits are harder than the fucking than the actual like launch bound combos and whatnot. But I mean, you have like 10-hit combos, you have a lot of useless target combos and a lot of strings and whatnot that are fucking worthless, right? And you use these things, but people get attached to these things. They use them a lot and they get them results. Then they stop working at some point because they're gimmicks and they're not very good. And then these people get frustrated. And a lot of people, when they can't play the way that they want to play, they'll quit the game. That's what fucking happens. And that's where I was gonna try and gear the conversation to, but he's a dumb bitch and a dumb asshole, and he completely redirected it. So I'm kind of upset at myself for not being able to catch that.
Yeah, traps are fine as long as it's balancing. But also, like I said, at the end of the day, though, I think your biggest problem is that you've been scarred because too many of these devs claim they can balance both, and then they fuck up the balance of the game for high level play.
I think
that's
you
true.
haven't been scarred. I think you haven't seen enough fucking game dev.
No, and that's true. Well, that's true. But also, what I would say is that the problem that they're making isn't that they're attempting to balance for both levels of play. I think that's essential, and that's fine. The problem is the priority for these devs is always on lower level play, because there are more lower level players rather than balancing around higher level play. Because in the end,
for low level players, because low level play is just high level play with mistakes. It's just the same.
Yes,
they're playing
exactly.
the same game. They're just making a shit ton of mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. They're just making mistakes and not playing optimally. Yeah, and but that's why I said the true answer is that if you have to pick one, if they're truly mutually exclusive, which, like I said, sometimes they are, then you should prioritize high level play, because at least the low level player, when they become a high level player, will basically the game will balance itself out. But the problem is, if you balance around low level play, then there is no balance. The game is truly just unbalanced. You just don't realize it yet because you're making too many mistakes, which is a problem. But whatever. Like I said, that's the reason why obviously they'll pay lip service to anything, claiming they're balancing both sides. But in reality, they will always prioritize lower level play for their balance, because that's the majority of players. When in reality, they should probably, if they cared about the health of the game the most, then they should be prioritizing high level play. But regardless, that doesn't change the fact that you can attempt to balance for both, at least a little bit, when it's not mutually exclusive.
No, but you can attempt, but good luck. I mean,
I know. Obviously, it's hard. Well, and that's why I said it's all about, at the end of the day, also, are they even good designers? Are they even making good decisions? And I think a lot of these people just straight up aren't good designers, or they're not good. They're not bad designers, but they are designers that have never played the game, only designed it.
That's true.
And it's like,
that's true.
Yeah.
No, but I think the biggest problem is, these people don't fucking play the game, and they don't know how to play games, and they're not very good at the game either, and they think, oh, well, we'll just do this shit off facts and logic, and we'll listen to our community as well. That's a good idea. Let's listen to our fucking community. Because they're all intelligent people. They're all a bunch of normal, intelligent people, obviously. So they listen to the community, and they look at a bunch of stats and statistics, which don't always tell the full story, and they try to make decisions off that.
Well, and if I was designing a game, because, like, obviously, even, let's say I go on to, like, design fighting games.
You get Freak as a game dev who just wants to...
Okay, we're not even going to talk about that. Let's say I was designing a game. Like I said, I'm not the greatest fighting game player, even though I would say I probably am better at fighting games than most designers are at the game that they're designing. I would have to rely on something, although I wouldn't go for community feedback, and I hate using stats, because also, I mean, stats aren't awful, but like, dude, it's just so misread, and also, in reality, this is the problem with stats, is that only the top, like, 0.1% of players are actually, quote unquote, playing the game correctly with no mistakes. And that's such a small data pool.
I wouldn't say 0.1%. I wouldn't say 0.1.
Whatever.
I'd
but
say
even
probably
1%,
like a top
even
2%,
1% of
top
the player,
2%.
even 1% of the player pool, like, let's take League of Legends, for example. Let's say the people actually playing the game correctly are Grandmaster and up. Grandmaster is the top 1,000 players in the server. They have 2 weeks to play games. You maybe get 5,000 games in a patch with Grandmaster Plus, and it's like that's a problem because now you have 5,000 games of stats worth to balance every single champion in the roster off of, and there are 150 champions. There are some champions that might only get like 20 games that patch in Grandmaster Plus, and it's like you're gonna balance the next patch off of 20 games. Not a good idea. So it's just stats would be good if you could theoretically get like, hundreds of thousands of games with the top 1% of players, but that's never happening. So your stats are just unreliable. Yeah. So what I would do personally is
there's a lot of component.
Well, I would ask who the community considers the best player, or probably like the best 3 or 5 players for each character or whatever, their opinions on the game and such. And like I said, I would prefer, rather than the community, specifically those top few players. And then the thing is, if those top few players get the changes that they want, and the community still doesn't like them, then you can yell at the top players. Don't yell at the devs, yell at the top players. Those were the ones giving feedback. And if the top players change their opinions, then you can change the game with those top players.
Yeah, that's what they should do, and that's what a lot of the good games do, is they have fucking top players in their payroll.
Well, no, but that's the thing, is you don't want top players on the dev team necessarily, because like I said, they just constantly like in bed with making changes, and you can't, it's not like you can get every top player for every single different champion in the dev team or whatever. You just have them as consultants. So like what I would do is I'd make a patch, or like write it up, and then I'd ask the top players, what do you think of this? What should be changed? And then they go, oh, I don't like this, I like this, blah blah blah. You and then you make a change, and then like you just ask them again, is this good? And then once they say yeah, it's good, then you ship it. And then once people are, if people get upset about it, then it's like blah blah blah. Because the thing is, top players can tell you if something's good or bad, but they don't exactly always have the best. What? Okay,
it's really stupid. Basically remove Thor's fucking cooldowns. I don't know why those exist. Yeah, but I don't know. You're gay and dumb, and you're lame and gay, and you're also dumb too. So like, I win. That was checkmate. What were you on about exactly? Fucking Carthasol freak season or something?
Oh, are you talking to me?
Yeah, you. Okay,
yeah. All I was saying is just. Okay, I just want to play fighting games or something. So let me just finish this. But yeah, I don't exactly remember. Just like, I don't know. In conclusion, I don't know. I think games, obviously game balance has a lot of problems, and obviously also I think a lot of the problem with quote unquote problems with game balance are just simply caused by we need to balance around low level players because low level players are the majority of our player base, which is whatever. But it doesn't change the fact that some game designers just simply don't have good ideas for characters and don't have any inspiration for the design, and then using, oh, well, it's supposed to be simple, or like, well, that would be too complicated for people, is just a scapegoat for making lazy, boring designs that people don't care about. And if you need evidence for it, then look at the fucking play rates for characters. See how many people choose a character, play them for a few games, and then never play that character again, because that means that they like the design, but they didn't like the gameplay, and something needs to change. That's all I'm saying.
But yeah.
In conclusion, Squirrel Girl's got a fat ass.
Squirrel Girl's got a fat ass. Yeah, but it's like I said, a lot of the characters are very, very bland. Like, Squirrel Girl's definitely one of them, too, because Squirrel Girl feels like Junkrat, but like on training wheels. You know what I mean? Like, with all the depth. Yes. Junkrat's a good example of a character that's very easy with a lot of depth and a lot of good stuff with him. Right? But it's like Squirrel Girl, it's just like all of that just sucked out. And it's just all gone. And it's like I tried to play Squirrel Girl and it's just like this is not it. Because she's got like basically, like Junkrat, he's got the mines, right? And that's like basically the whole character. I mean, he can like knock you around, he can push you, he can pull you, he can use it as his mobility, he can use it to jump super high, and then he can set up he can use it to capitalize and like confirm a kill, and he can like set it up to hit his shot and whatnot. But it's like Squirrel Girl doesn't have any of that. Squirrel Girl's got like the super jump, and that's basically it. So it's like, imagine taking the mine, but only one factor of the mine you can use now. And that's like basically the way that Squirrel Girl is. Yeah, and then she has like her like stun, where it's just like, oh, she throws the big acorn, and you get fucking hit by it, and you can't move for a couple seconds. Woo! Yippee! That's so cool. And it's like, and that's like literally the whole thing. That's the whole character, pretty much. Then you just shoot the acorns around. The character's fucking boring. Yeah, and that's like a lot of the characters. It's just like the design is definitely stripped of a lot of the
well, like
the
I said,
depth.
yeah, and I don't want to give the designers the benefit of the doubt. I truly just think it's that they didn't understand what made the characters interesting. They just tried to lift as much as they could, what they could understand from it, and they didn't understand what actually gave those characters the depth that they have. Yeah.
No, but also to some extent, what is it? Like I said, I think some characters maybe like that, like Squirrel Girl, but some other characters they definitely, I think, neutered on purpose. Like I think Thor was neutered on purpose because you don't just accidentally do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Clearly, they didn't want him to spam all of his abilities.
Well, also, I don't even think there's a pool character like that in Overwatch at all.
There isn't. But like I said, you got like, I mean, they exist in other games. Like I said,
yeah, I know it's not a.
And Ion is in Titanfall, and he's a pool character, and he works
training
in the same
wheels.
manner.
Yeah, it's just training wheels. But like I said, I don't know. I think a good designer can make a way that there are artificial training wheels that kind of come off when you get better with the character. Like,
no, but that's like how Junkrat is, because he's a very easy character to just pick up and play, and everyone understands him. And he's very popular at a low level, but there's a lot of depth to him, and there's a lot you can do with the character with his minds, and he has a lot going on for the character.
Yeah, well, and that's why I said, to circle back to my original point, I think it's lazy to just say, well, the character's supposed to be easy, so no shit you think he's boring. He's easy. And it's like, easy character doesn't mean boring character.
Yeah.
You can have a character with a low skill ceiling a low skill floor, high skill ceiling, that's possible. Not every character needs to be like that, but it's definitely possible, and I think that characters with just a low skill ceiling flat out shouldn't exist, regardless of where their skill floor is. If their skill ceiling is low, then that is just poor design. You can find a way to raise it, and I know you were saying, oh well, don't arbitrarily raise it. You should arbitrarily raise it. If it feels arbitrary to raise it, then you probably should just scrap the whole character design in general, because that means there just wasn't much potential in general.
Oh,
yeah. Or it's intended for a simpler game.
No, but it's like there's nothing wrong with like a Shoto. Like a Shoto's super easy, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like what's wrong with a Shoto?
You can make Shotos interesting. I can name some interesting Shotos. I can also name some really fucking boring Shotos. Do you really want every Shoto to play like Street Fighter 2 Ryu, or would you rather Shotos that play like fucking Naoto from BlazBlue or fucking
But it's like at some point, if you give them too much sauce, they're not a Shoto anymore. You know what I mean?
Or Pi from Exert. They're still Shotos. They just actually have more things they can do. Nobody has ever said, "Oh, Naoto's fucking lame. I hate that he can enhance his special moves with his dash."
Yeah,
that's so stupid. They should just get rid of that. I just hate that you can do that.
But it's like at some point, if you give them too much sauce, they're not a Shoto anymore. Like, dude, you know what I mean? Like,
who said they need to be? If people like the character more, I think just Shoto in general is an outdated archetype. Nobody likes playing Shotos. They like playing characters that they can understand quickly. You can make a character that you understand quickly without them being a Shoto. Or like also they like characters that are all-rounders. Yeah, you can make a character that's an all-rounder that's not a Shoto. I think Shoto is just lazy. They're just lazy. People feel obligated to put one in when in reality nobody cares. And most of the time, the people that play the Shoto, they don't play them for the gameplay. They just like how they look, and the person's personality is just white red. Usually they're just like, Kai's a cool guy with a sword. That's the reason why I play him.
Me, Ryu from Streets.
Yeah. Oh, I like Ryu. He's cool. Why do most Mexicans play Ken? I don't know. Probably because he's a cool fire guy. Like, dude.
No, it's because they like the fucking running and scrambling.
Yeah,
like running and scrambling
a Ken player would probably prefer Ken to play more rushdown and have
you want to talk fucking Mexican, and you didn't even mention Akuma. That's a travesty.
Yeah, I guess, but my point is, it's like, I don't think if they removed Ken's fireball and gave him like a dive kick that he can have online all the time in return, I think Ken players would rather that. I don't think you would hear many Ken players up in arms. Why'd you remove his fireball? People who play Ken don't give a shit about his fireball, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and it's like, and I'm just saying, it's like there are tons of things like that where the devs just feel obligated.
No, Ken is definitely taking a direction to be more of a rushdown. I mean, that's every game. He's a bit more rushdown.
I mean, Street Fighter 6 did a great job with Ken. People don't fucking use his fireball.
Fucking uses fireball.
You know the most common time Ken players use fireball when they do meaty EX fireball to try to do safety P on offense. Yeah. People are not sitting there throwing fireballs with Ken playing fireball DP, bro. Like it's just which is fine. Like I said, it's just.
Does anyone even play fireball DP anymore? It's not even worth it. No one does that.
I mean, unrelated.
Only old men do that who don't know what they're doing. Like, you actually fucking FGC boomer if you're playing DP Fireball.
Okay, but regardless of that, I'm just saying also there are a lot of cases where there's a disconnect between the kind of person that would pick the character in the first place and their gameplay. Yeah. And there are a bajillion different examples of this, and a lot of designers just like either don't know or don't care that it's like, dude, the kind of person picking this character is a fucking Mexican. Make this character fucking Mexican. Like, or like the kind of person.
So Akuma isn't Mexican enough though. The Akuma isn't Mexican enough?
I don't know. I think Akuma's pretty Mexican, especially in Street Fighter 6. I think they did a good job with him. No, but like for example, like let's say you make like an old man character. Like think of like the kind of person who would want to play Fang, and it's like think about what they did to Fang, and it's like that's good. Like the kind of person who wants to play Fang wants a weird ass character with lots of like technical stuff. But then think of a character like Manat. You know why she's so unpopular? It's because the kind of person who wants to play Manat wants to stroke their fucking cock. And it's like...
you can't play Manat with one hand, yeah.
And you can't play Manat with one hand. And it's like, so now it's like you have this great design, yet nobody plays her. I wonder why. It's because there's a disconnect. It's not because their gameplay is not interesting, but the kind of person who would want really complex gameplay, want Manat's gameplay, because I'm sure plenty of people would, don't want Manat's design. And the kind of person who wants Manat's design doesn't want Manat's gameplay. So there are plenty of markets for it, for both their gameplay and their design, but there's a disconnect. They don't match. So and it's like, well, now you have a fucking problem. And they really, with characters like that, they need to give her gameplay to somebody else or something, and then give her new gameplay with that design. Yeah. And then design a fucking weird old man for people to play with weird gameplay. Or whatever. It doesn't have to be a weird old man. I'm just saying, like, somebody who would appeal to a person who wants like a more intelligent play style. Yeah, but
more intelligent play style.
A more intelligent play, a refined play. But seriously, it's like who's picking the average IQ of the person who's picking fucking Birdie, and the average IQ of the person who's picking like fucking I don't know. I don't want to glaze any particular person because like there are retards on every.
Urian.
Yeah, Urian, the average IQ
of course.
Of the person is like very high IQ character.
Very high IQ character. Very smart.
Yeah,
I'm a very smart person, just like Brian.
Like scholarly blacks.
Like scholarly blacks. Yep, just like Brian.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be pretty scholarly black to find Urian.
Scholarly black. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know. That's common problem, many such cases, blah blah blah. I don't know. And all of this is to say, I'll fix it all. I'll fix it all, bro. I get it. I'll get a good job. I'll fix all.
Dude, games, they're gonna replace game devs with AI soon. Like you better fix it quick.
Good luck. Well, also, I'm getting an AI degree. I'll just make the AI that replaces the game devs. Thoughts?
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
But anyway,